This stuff in Yerushalmi Pesachim, the article holds with edition where Daf Pei Dalet Alf at the Mishnah of Halacha Gimel, and in the Vilna that is at the bottom of Samach Tes and Beis. And we're proceeding on with the Seder. Havil in front of Yerokos v'Chazeres. They bring in front of him the vegetables and the Chazeres, which is the romaine lettuce, the Mor Tabel v'Chazeres. He dips the chazeres, says the Kormei ain't lo shari rokos. This is of course he doesn't have the shari rokos for the karpas, so then you have to use chazeres for it. Achmagil parperes apas until he reaches the parperes apas, which is, as Kormei says, chazer sheoch achar matzah kariachi. The chazer, the more you eat after the matzah is like I believe the Yiddish term is a forespeis. Appetizer, so that is the there's the table beforehand, karpas, and the table afterwards, which is more itself. He will find matzah chazeres charosis, and of course, so that they use it for the shori rokos for the karpas. So then they would bring the matzah chazeres and charoses for the purpose of the matzah amora. Avavisha ein charoses mitzvah. Even though charos is not a mitzvah, as the Korban says, it's brought to for refuah in order to negate the harmful sap in the chazeres, which is difficult for the body. So nevertheless, we brought it for that purpose. And mitzvah. No, it is a mitzvah. As the Korban says, zechel tapuach, commemorating the apple. She owed those pasham name that the question where the apple here means apple or esrog, but under in the orchards where they would give birth to their children in Mitzrayim, Mikdash, and in the base of Mikdash they would bring actually the front of course in Yerushalayim. They would be in the front of the Guma Shel Pesach. They would bring the body of the Korban Pesach. Chevrayim b'shem Rabbi Yochanan said to the Tabel Chazer Shnei Pamim. You do both karpas and mora with chazeres. The Yerushalmi Yochanan said eitzot habechaberes Shnei Pamim. So the Chevrayot said name Rabbi Yochanan twice chazeres. Rabbi says name Rabbi Yochanan. No, you don't use the chazeres twice. If you didn't do the first time with chazeres, then you needed to do a second time with chazeres. So the Korban Eda says it doesn't necessarily mean if you didn't do it with chazeres, but you did it with kavana, right? It says the mitzvah tzrichas kavana, but like Kim Yerushalmi Shem Mora, Kim Shalbercha Bel Bar Priyadam, B'Kshay Yerachis, Shein Adayin Lo Mitzvah tzrichas Mora, Achilas Matzah. So you have to do the table the second time, and after I'm sorry, that's Rabbi Yochanan. So Rabbi Yochanan says you have to do the top of two twice because mitzvah tzrichas kabbalah. So first you need to do the shem mora, the second one you do the shem mora. And Rabbi Shimon Lakish says even though no, mitzvah ain't tzrichas kabbalah. So therefore, only if you didn't use mora the first time, you have to use mora the second time. But otherwise, you'd be yotzei to use mora for the purpose of karpas. Masisa pliga Rabbi Shimon Lakish. So it sounds like Rabbi Shimon Lakish. You have to do one tibul. With karpas, you can kill two birds with one stone and be yotzei both karpas and mora. There are mishnahs so Arnon Rabbi Shimon Lakish. It says Shebachol Aleos. Arnon might later on. We're going to learn the Mishnah. Shebachol Aleos. Arnon might be Pamachas all nights. We say the Mashar would do table once. Now Aleos have had stay by me when might be two times. Seven Rabbi Shimon Lakish al Hador the Bar Kapara. So Rabbi Shimon Lakish has to hold that the question actually is not like the question that Mishnah over there because he's talking to people twice by like questions like Bar Kapara's question. Here it says in the Vilna Masisa Plila Bar Kapara, the Mechla Mayim and the Yerushalmi Pesachim both take that out. Let's see if the article does. Probably not. You don't really have to because we're just saying the Mishnah argues on Bar Kapara, and Bar Kapara holds differently, and Reish Lakish holds a Bar Kapara. So I'm not sure why they felt so necessary to take it out. But the question according back apart is Shabachol Helilos on might be so in my past all the nights when we do when we dip things together with the bread, so it's in the meal. The kind might be lost with the Pavif Neatzmo, and he would do the Takbola independently at the beginning of before the meal, at the time of the Karpas. So that's the question. Why, the question is like Bar Kappar's question, not like the Mishnah's question. Okay, so it says Gemara Masnisa, please Rabbi Yochanan. Because Rabbi Yochanan said Mitzvah Tzrichas Kavara. So if we didn't do the Karpas, the Shane Mar, you have to do more over again. If our Mishnah seems to argue Rabbi Yochanan, it says, Yaitze Matzah, your Yaitze Matzah, Ben Shekivein, whether you had Kavana to be Yaitze, Ben Shalokivein, whether you, didn't have Kavana to be make, to be Yaitze Matzah. Let's see the Pnei Moshe, because I have it underlined. So play the other Shemitzvahs answer is Kavana, for Yaitze Matzah, Ben Shekivein, Shem Matzah, Ben Shalokivein. Okay, all the Tzorah Tabach Chazer is based on me, because you didn't have Kavana the first time to be Yaitze. So I have a time of having Mishnah the Betibu Rishon Bar Priyadama. The reason is because the first time you dip, you make Bar Priyadama. So you can't shame my mitzvah smart. You didn't have mind of it tomorrow. Hilchos the circle the top of Pam Shnia. That's after the second Tibu. Bar Chilas Mara. Let's see the Chobas Mara. Alma mitzvah Tzrichas Kavana. So my answer is well, became a chase of Chazaka Kibein. Since he was Mason, we assume it's Kav Mechavin. Says the Pnei Moshe Klomar. The Mishayim to love how time of Tibu Shtei Pamim. It's not we have to do Tibul twice. The Hacha Mikema Chesi Lasso Seder, since he reclined to make the Seder on mitzvahs, Balayla Zu, and this night, Chazok the Mashal Asal Kavanas Mitzvahs. The assumption is he did for the purpose of mitzvah. V'imashum Kavana, in terms of the issue was a Kavana, love it on the top of Pamshia. Not like we said before. They did not need that the second time because of the lack of Kavana. So that's the Echvasa Pam Rishana, because it is part of the Seder. Achayot Taima, Kechel have a careless Tinokos Yishalu. It's matchable twice in order that there should be a something strange for the children to ask about. So not on account of the mitzvah Sukkos Kavanah. So the Pnei introduces another aspect here. I think the Korban Eidah perhaps is more pushing, and he says. The Korban Eidah says that Mishani came and chased it. You only eat the matzah when you're reclining. It's a problem. And you were in Mechav the first time for Mori, you did it for Karpas. The second time you're Mechavim. And but by matzah, even low kimin see where since we're massive, the assumption is that you had a mind to eat a l'shem matzah. But later on, at the time of eating, you forgot. Carpets which you without a seba before the meal. Maybe I didn't have mind for the purpose of tomorrow. That's what I have to do the second time. Mace Rabbi Yirmiyah Kum Rabbi Zira. Rabbi Yirmiyah asked for Zira. Masisa clear Rishim and Lokish. Mishnah sees Har Rishim and Lokish. Says they deal in front of matzah and chazeres charosas. Says you bring the matzah and the chazeres and the charosas. After you share charosas mitzvah, even though charosas is not a mitzvah, the inference is, though it didn't say explicit Mishnah, the chazeres is a mitzvah. So you weren't Yotzi the first time. Not like Rish Lakish who said you don't have to do a second time. Says the Gemara, Amalesh can ram b'tabel b'tardi. Rav used beets the first time. So we're saying since Rav used beets, presume the other people use beets and other types of vegetables the first time. That's why the Mishnah said infers it's a mitzvah because according to those like us use the shari ruckus for karpas. So then you're going to use the mara becomes the ikar the meal becomes ikar mitzvah. So says Gemara, notwithstanding what our Mishnah said according to Tanakama, the charos mitzvah tagorim Yerushalmi, the merchants of Yerushalmi would say, both luchem tivli mitzvah, come and take the spices for the mitzvah for charosas, because they held that charos also a mitzvah. Now Mashmiach brings out a very strange thing. He says that they were given that for free, and he says just bo tlu, right? Come and take it. They weren't actually selling it; they were giving it away, kind of like the old days that tells Yeshiva used to send out packets of charosas. I don't know if they still do. But in any event, he says that there was a minute he saw, I don't know if he saw in Pittsburgh, he saw in the old country that one person say would make the charosas and everybody would come and take it for him for free. And he says must be based on this Yerushalmi. That's according to his interpretation. B'nai based on Isim Shem Yisi said, V'lamani cross Shema Ruba. So why is it called Ruba? So there are a couple of different gersos here. The carbonated says ruba kipshuto, and there is another girsa. So yeah, the Amuni Yerushalmi Tinyana, who says Rokeh Chetik Lomini Krashma Charoses. Zech Levena Shumaisa Charosin. So it's called Charosis because the bricks were like pottery. But okay, here there is another girsa in the Leiden, Ducha, right? To pound together, like pounding, duch, right? So, but okay, whatever the girsa is, Lamni Krashma Ruba or Ducha, without going with the Rokech's girsa, which would have to change significantly. So, Shuhu Ducha Rabba Imo. So the Rabbi Mo, it says because there's a machlekes, whether it's mitzvah, not a mitzvah, or else because there's it's I guess ruba was what he says is one of the spices. There are a lot of spices with it. The the Moshe says she Rabbi Mokum Hashem Rava Ketsemach Hasod in the Satich. Shadoshim Me'alem this Rabu. So it goes on the fact that they became fruitful and multiplied. So Rava, right? So Shem Shushi Rabbi Imo would be that to get together with the apple, right? Which they cut into charosis, they would become many fruitful and multiplied. So but according to the Yerushalmi, according to Xavier, the Leiden manuscripts, that which the Yerushalmi brings down, you push the Mora into the Charosis, which is a nice shot. Rabbi Shimon Levi Omer v'tzricha shetei ava. It has Charosis have to be thick. Milsei Amar, what he's saying is Zechletit. That commemorates the tit, and that is the like the Rokech says that it says Zech Levena. So here it says something similar about Zecher Letit. No, the Rabbi says saying Rokech. Okay, so Istani Tane, those who learned Sricha, it's a Savre. The verse is probably supposed to be Sricha, like the Yerushalmi Kipshuta changes it. That's could be that Savre means to gather it together, to collect it together. Yeah, that's what the Korban Eidah says. So probably he doesn't change the gears here. No, he does change it. Sricha, yeah. Let's go change it. Sricha Shadiyava. Based on the where's he bring it down from? Doesn't even change. Doesn't bring out where it's from. Just change it. Okay. Tzricha Rava. I guess like tzricha before. Milsa Marsh is Zechel Adam. So this here the Korban Eidah changes it to Raka instead of Rava because it has to be soft and I guess somewhat runny, so it looks Zechel Adam. Tani, we learned the advice of good shnei tafshil on your Seder plate. You need to have two cooked dishes. Echad Zechel Pesach, Echad Zechel Chagiga. One commemorate the Pesach, one commemorate the Chagiga. We of course use roa, shank bone, whatever that is. We usually use a chicken wing,
And Zech Chagiga, of course, is the egg. Okay, so look at that. Muslim kosher. They pour the second cup. Kind of ben shoel. And now the son asks the question. I mean, that's what Ben Lishow if the child is not able to ask the ask. Or Vim Malamdo, his father teaches him what to ask. Man ishtar alay azim kolios. שבכל אנו מגבילים פעם אחת, ועל הזה שתי פעמים. שבכל אנו אוכלים חמץ ומצה, הלילה הזה כולו מצה. Okay, now we deviate. שבכל אנו אוכלים בשר צלי שלוק ומבושל, keep meat roasted, very cooked, and some are cooked. הלילה הזה כולו צלי, we only eat roast. וידייתו של בן אבי מלמדו. And then after he asks a question, according to the intelligence of the son, the father teaches him. Mascha Bagnus, he starts with the negative, and ends with the positive, with the praise. V'dersh me'arami ovid ovi, and he expounds from Arami ovid ovi in the Parsha Bikurim and Parsha Kisavo. Achu go merkol Parsha in the entire Parsha. Gamliel Emer, Gamliel says, Kol Shalei Omer Shlosh Dvarim Eilu of Pesach. Anybody not see these three things on Pesach? Lo Yotzi Yedei Chavaso. He did not fulfill his obligation. Also means, but it's prime of the mitzvahs, whatever. Pesach matzah mrori. Pesach al shem shepasach mokom about the other same mitzvah because Baruch skipped over the houses of our forefathers in Egypt. Matzah al shem shnigalu al same time because we were saved in Egypt. Mor al shem shemuru al mitzim eschev al same mitzvah. They embittered our lives in Egypt. B'chol dover del chayvim liros es atzmo. But in every generation, person has to see himself. Kilu yatsa mitzvah as if he left Egypt. Shemar says, "Vigata bilcha." You have to tell your son be'omalei more. But words are Hashem li, but say Mitzrayim to me, right, as if I left Egypt. Vicha naflu chayavim l'dos talel l'shabech l'vayel romein l'atzel kadel l'misha salanu. It's called nistim ha'elu. Tzem d'us l'cherus v'nomer l'farav hallelujah. So therefore we go all the way up to that. We're up all the way up to that point in the Seder. Different Gersos here in the source of Shas as to what you say. Shamis lahadar barach le'chalesh, shamis lavasenu v'lanu, shamis miyagal simcha, me'evel yonta ba'apel argodo, mishibu l'gula. So different versions of the Mishnayos. Tanya Rabbi Chia. Now we have Yerushalmi's version of the four sons, which is not the same as ours. Kedega arba bani dibra Torah. The Torah speaks about four sons. Ben Chacham, wise son. Ben Rasha, so for good, right? Ben Tipesh, a foolish, a stupid son. Ben Sheir Daily Show, it's a child does not know ask. Ben Chacham, Mao Omer, what does Ben Chacham say? Mao Edus v'achukim v'mishpatim asher tzibah Hashem Elokeinu osanu. Afatar Malone, not like us, not if they're a person of the common, but right? The Coach Baruch took us out with great strength, and presumably you elaborate on that. Ben Rasha Ma'omer, what does the Rasha say? Ma'avadah Zosachem. And he elaborates. Not just that. That's the question we have. He elaborates. Ma'torah Chazeh Shana Tem Mashich V'Leinu B'Chol Shana V'Shana. What's this difficulty you have with this whole Pesach business each and every year? Became Shotzias, that's him in a cloud. Since he removed himself from the from Klal Yisrael, because he said Lachem, right? In the Yerushalmi, you see, the Ben Chacham's question is also different than it is in our Haggadah, because it says Ma'idus Chiyam Yishudim Shetzivah Hashem Elokeinu Osanu, right? Us it says Eschem, right? And therefore there's always a question, was it Eschem and Lachem? But by the Yerushalmi it says Osanu, us, by the Chacham, and it says Lachem by the Rasha. Even became Shoti as it's called Avatar Melo Baburza Session Li Asa to me. Losa Ish Olasa to you would not have done it because you took yourself out of Kaiso. Li Asa Ish Mitzvah Lawyer or Iguloi Ligal Misham Lam he never been suitable to redeem because you only get redeemed as part and parcel of the Jewish nation. Tipish Malmer Mazos. What is this? And here we have the answer of the Ben Achal, which we give to the Chacham. Af at lamdo. In our Haggadah, only the Ben Shem Yodei Lisho, it says Aptachlo. But here it says also by the T-page at Psachlo, the at Lamdo. Sorry. So the truth is that at doesn't necessarily mean the mother, like we always interpret it. In article doesn't even bother bringing down such an interpretation. It means at and at are interchangeable in Aramaic. But it's interesting that here the if it was the mother, it is taken that way. So she doesn't just teach the Ben the Shani or the Elisha, but she also teaches the Tipesh, the halacha, not to move the Korban Pesach from not to leave from Chabur to Chabura. So I lam the Yerushalmi Pesachim after Nachar Pesach Afikoman. In the line of manuscript similar to the Bible, it says my Afikoman. It just says Shloya Amem Chabura Zul Nichas Chabura Cheres. And the Yerushalmi Pesachim brings down that the Greeks, Taka had a minhag that when they're making frivolous festivities, as Arkamba Betuma, so they were at the height of the festivities and the merriment, they would go to another person to another house and compel the people in that other house to join in their festivities. And what we're being told here is that, we just don't do these things. We stay here, and, because they say Pischa Bahala Paka Igra, but in the same place. Go from house to house just for the purpose of making more merriment. And he is Yerushalmi Pesachim is pretty marach here. And he says that there's a Marie Yitzhani, Marie is Perish Chumash, brought down by the Chidor evidently. So in Ksav Yad says that this is actually, according to me, trying the answer given to the Russian, which makes sense. Tell the Russian, you know what? Just make sure not to pass like Korban Pesach. So, and of course, in our God, it's a thing given to the Chacham. And the Yerushalmi Pesachim says, of course, also to pass for the Chacham. But don't be like the Mishtos of the people who are frivolous and there to make merriment. No, we have to, our Chacham, we have a serious focus, and therefore we don't go from place to place and try and, just increase the merriment and in frivolous ways. But in any event, so this answer could be given to the Chacham, like we give it, to the Russia, like the Mediterranean, and like to the Tipesh, like the Yerushalmi has. So the Shloyech Chabur Zul Nichas Chabur Acheres. The bench enemy Yishol Apsachlo Chila, so then you have to open up with him, and it doesn't. However, in the Yerushalmi doesn't give an answer. It doesn't say what to say. So that's Yerushalmi telling you, use your good judgment. Whatever is going to work to get the child into the frame of mind in order to understand what's going on. So, so we see this in the Mishnah. It says, "Im ein das reben aviv." Right. So the atis doesn't seem to be literally, like we said, it doesn't seem to be literally the mother, but the Avim Lamdo, you have to teach him whatever it's possible to teach at his level. I don't think I made this clear, so I just wanted before we finish, because we're already on the next summit, of course, but afikuman means to, as I think it's probably clear, but just to make sure that we understand that the afiku means go out from here and to go somewhere else, right? Afikoman, according to Yerushalmi, is not that we don't eat afterwards, right? But we don't go from place to place, to leave from here to go somewhere else. Okay, so that is it for today.